I'm going to need to build myself a line number reader, so and I can call it N or banana or whatever I would like to call it. But as an argument to this constructor, I need to create a new input stream reader. And pass into it system in. Okay. And then now I just want to basically ask the player what is my number? And now to get my input, all I want to do is use my line number reader, and remember I've got to wrap that in try and catch blocks. So I want to try it. I want to catch it. And the thing I want to try is read line on my line number reader, and for that I'll need a temporary string. So up here I'm just going to add myself a temporary string and give it an initialization of a space, and just want to go ahead and call read line on my line number reader. The kind of exception I want to catch is an IO exception, and it can be X or anything you want to make it. And in this example we could just send something to the console. Okay, and then I'm going to want to parse it. And again, I could have nested this whole process and gotten rid of the middleman, so to speak. In other words, I could have taken player's guess, and I could have taken integer parse int and simply fed in read line as an argument or parameter to that, and that would have let me do this all in one line. But if you don't like that, or if that seems confusing, again, we'll hold off on nesting, at least for now. And this way too, if we do it this way, we could catch more than one exception. So I could try and catch that, and then down here I could take and here's another exception we could catch. What if we asked the player for a number, but they type in banana or 7 years ago? It would let them do that because everything we get from the line number reader and read line comes in the format of a string. It's a data primitive, but it's part of the string class. So there's no restrictions against typing in a non-number. But the problem is when I try to parse it, that would make my program crash. And just to show you what we're talking about, this is something we call bulletproofing. But again, you try to think of what it is that the user or the player would do to to your program, to your game, that that would cause it to crash. Pull IO in there, and then so let me go ahead and give it the wrong kind of data. If I type in banana, notice it's telling me there's a number format exception. And the reason is I'm parsing something it's a string. Yeah, I can pass it as an argument to integer parse int, but it's not banana's not numerical content. So there's another situation where I may want to use try and catch and let my program fail a little bit more gracefully. And if I did that, the number The exception I want to catch is not an IO exception, but a number format exception. So I'll make that an apple. And what I could do with this, I actually do two things. And just say, hey, that was not a number. And I could set the value of player's guess to something harmless. I'll just say setting the value to 1. Okay. That would kind of, again, just allow my application to fail a bit more gracefully. So let's rebuild that. Player guess. Yeah, okay, it was player guess up there. And now I'm going to run it. And so now if I type in banana, everything's okay. This lets me know, hey, the catch statement below the try runs, that was not a number, and it sets the value to 1. So now that I have that, here's where the logic process comes in. How can I compare what the player inputs to the actual number? And in this instance, we were going to use an if and an else. And the way an if works, the if part will be in open and closing braces, and then there's an else part, and it's in open and closing braces. Now there are many variations. You can do if without else, or you can do if and then else if and else if and else, and you can do if by itself. But in this case, we'll do a basic if else. So the condition part I would place in parentheses, and that's what I'm testing. In this case, I'm testing for equality. So I want to see if player guess evaluates to the number. And a common mistake people make is they confuse the assignment operator with equals, and they would only put one, equals sign there. And if you did that, wouldn't necessarily flag it as a syntax error, but it could be a logic error. It may not perform as you expect it to. And the reason is it would simply be saying, take what's on the right and assign it or store it in the variable on the left. So this, you would find this to be true every time, whether I typed in 5 or 9 or any number at all. So there is a subtle difference between equals and assignment, and just realize that when you're testing a condition, you don't want to use assignment, you want to use evaluates to, the two equal symbols together. And we'll just tell them that they guessed it. And then down here, we'll tell them that they didn't guess it. Okay.